Well, good morning, friends. G'day from your Aussie Covid Chaplain. And as we continue Connection Week, I thought I'd talk to you today about the need to stay connected. You see, we make lots of contacts through life. We connect with all sorts of different people, way back at school, through our work, our training programs, through our church and social networks, sporting clubs, just people we meet down the street, neighbours. These are people that we make some connection with. Now, a lot of those people we keep no ongoing connection with because, they're just sort of people that come in and out of our life, and that's pretty normal. You don't have to remember the names and addresses and birthdays of every single person you meet. But there are people who you do connect with for a while. Maybe they come around for a meal, your children play with their children, they're in the same sporting team, and a connection is made that's maybe a bit bigger than normal. And the trick for us then is to actually maintain that connection over time. If you think about what a friend is started out just as a connection. But as the connection kept crossing again, you kept meeting each other over and over again, you got to share different experiences, talk about different things, discover more about them, they discovered more about you. That connection grew into a friendship and maybe something that you value very, very dearly even today. So in this COVID season, with lockdown and restrictions of all different kinds happening in different ways in different places around the world, where we are in Victoria, things are opening up a little bit for us, but other parts of the world, we understand things are closing in really quite seriously. So I don't quite know what your situation is. But because of this pressure upon us interfering with our ability to stay connected, like we're talking about here in Connection Week, we need to really make up our mind that we will maintain the connections, stay connected. So we'll call this Stay Connected Day. It means remember the connections that you have and look for a way to rebuild that connection. Maybe that connection will become a friendship, something more valuable over time. Many years ago, my wife and my family were travelling in a car. We'd hired a car in a country we were holidaying around, and the car broke down. We ended up going to a farmhouse to get some help. And it was just a really tenuous connection. We stayed in the people's home for about an hour. They gave us a tea and coffee, fed some biscuits to the kids while we waited for the replacement vehicle to turn up. But we actually stayed connected. Would you believe that? That was about 30 or more years ago. And we just kept in touch, maybe only a letter once a year. Different times we heard from them. Sometimes we sent news to them. And we just stayed connected. And so a number of years ago, when my wife was traveling again for a particular purpose, I said, why don't you pop in on these people and see them again? And so she did. And it was really great that she could actually meet them face to face after such a long period of time. But it only happened because we stayed connected. Now, I'm not really good at staying connected. To be fair, there's people maybe who'll watch this and say, well, Chris, I used to talk to you years ago and you don't ever call me anymore. So I'm not putting myself up as a paragon of virtue, but I am upholding an important principle for you, that if you stay connected, the connections will last over the long time. And in fact, they can mature and grow till they become rather special connections, friendships, maybe people who'll be really an important part of your life in the future. I have Chinese friends. They're very canny about connections. They'll often have a dinner with 10 guests at the dinner and they'll all talk at once, but what they're doing is making connections. And they keep having these kind of large meals, and that's why the Chinese and Asians often eat out if they come to Western countries. We don't quite understand why they do it so much. But what they're doing is keeping up all of these connections. And as my Chinese friends say, that's how they can find a job and a career path for their son or their daughter, because they keep in touch with all the different people who might be doing different things. And in due time, those connections can mature into quite important contacts for the life of the family. So I'm not guaranteeing that your whole world is going to be better because you stayed connected. But at a time when connections are threatened and strained, and it's easier to lose touch rather than maintain touch, my lesson for you today is to stay connected. So along with the 3 people you're going to call today that you haven't caught up with for ages, you might not have thought of touching base, think about people who you've had connection with in the past and you haven't stayed connected. So before the connection dies and drops off completely, ping a connection to them again. Send some sort of message. Reach out to them so that you can stay connected. And then in terms of the people very close to you, a spouse and children and extended family and friends and neighbours, stay connected. That's your challenge today. And then by 3 o'clock, as you sit down and enjoy your afternoon cup of tea, you can say to yourself, yes, I've really enjoyed being reconnected and making sure that I stay connected today. That's your challenge. And as you do that, may God bless you.